There are a lot of ways you can put together a contract with a contractor, and there's also different times that you can do that. On the most basic level, there's two different ways of approaching establishing a contract with a contractor. One is to do a competitive bid, and the other one is to do a negotiated bid. Now, the competitive bid is what most people think of automatically. That's what's traditionally done. And people think, well, heck, that's the best way because what we can do is we can pit 3 or 4 people against each other, we'll pick the low one and I'll get a hell of a deal. And that's true, except that you're actually dealing with an adversarial relationship, okay? Those contractors are trying to beat out each other, okay? And they're also trying to prove to you what a hero they are, okay? So they are going to have a tendency to they're going to try to find ways in the drawings to find out things that we've left out as an architect. And then they're going to try to exclude those pieces, and then they're going to try to come back to you and pick those up later on. Because they're trying to figure out how they can be low, which is to drive their price down so it's competitive, but without really being slimy. They're just being good business people, okay? So in that process, you can get what you think is a great deal, but in the long run, it can be an issue. So the more progressive, and I'll use that word loosely, is a negotiated bid. And in this case, what you're doing is you're going to start working with a contractor, and he's going to help the architect price the project as it's being developed, okay? And in that process, you can establish realistic budgets before you get all the way down the line here and actually bid the project. So you can tell if you're on track or not. So you can work toward a number. So the biggest benefit of that is no surprises. You know, that's, as an architect, we've learned one thing we don't like to do to owners is surprise them. So you don't sneak up and go boo to them with a price. So if you work with a negotiated bid, they can work with you on that. Now, lots of owners will say, well, geez, I'm not getting the best price. This isn't necessarily the cheapest thing. Well, it is, in that the contractor can learn the project and he can help you find ways to drive price out of the project, okay? So on that level, it is a way of doing it, okay? Now, he's not beating people up, he's not beating up his subcontractors, and he's not misrepresenting himself. He's finding real value. And this is what you really are looking for, is not trying to a bait and switch situation where you could get into in a competitive bid, but a negotiated process where you actually can work together and find out where do you want to spend your money and how you can do it. And then you, the architect and the contractor, work together to actually implement those ideas, and then the contractor then prices it and works from there. So on the most basic level, you know, the choice is the negotiated versus which is, I'd say, the interactive cooperative venture versus the competitive bid, which is adversarial.